I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the ALPAKA Go Sling Mini V2, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. If you recognize this bag, it's probably because you've seen the earlier version. There are a few differences, so we do have a comparison video on that, so be sure to check that out. But in this case, we're just gonna be taking a look at this individual bag on its own. So this is the V2. We have the X-Pack version here. This is, they also have an AXOFLUX recycled fabric one, which is like a 300D polyester. That's a material that you see on a lot of their other bags. And then for this as well, we have a 800D ballistic nylon back panel. So the liner inside is like a ripstop nylon liner. So we have a couple of different like materials around here. In summary, this is just a really durable bag, which is not unfamiliar for ALPAKA in a general sense. So in terms of external features, we don't have anything too crazy. We do have little loops on the side here. These are where you would attach items from their hub system if that's something that you want to utilize, so you can hang like additional things off of this bag. But in general, it's pretty simple. We have YKK zippers around. We have their reverse coil with like that AquaGuard style. And these zipper pulls here are like a Hypalon material. These zipper pulls initially were just kind of metal zipper pulls, and one of the critiques was that it was a very like jingly bag, and this helps reduce that. So I'm gonna shake it really quick. So you can hear that it's still a little bit jingly, but it's not too bad. I honestly didn't really even notice it. So if that was a main concern of yours, then this is going to be a little bit better of an option. We also have this top carry handle, which, I mean, you can barely even see it when this bag is just kind of hanging out on its own. It lays completely flush against the sling, but it does act as a nice little like carry handle if you wanted to just grab this thing and move it around. It just acts as like another attachment point or grabbing point for yourself. These straps are not removable, so this doesn't double as a pouch or something like that, but you could technically, you know, tuck these straps away somewhere, like tie them all together and then just carry this around like solo or something like that. Wouldn't really recommend it, but in a general sense, you know, that carry handle just is nice for a little bit of extra grabbability. And then we have this little D hook down at the bottom where you could attach gear, but that actually integrates in with the harness system, which we'll get into now. So that D-ring that I mentioned is actually a part of this harness system. It is their stabilizer strap, or it attaches their stabilizer strap. So if you wanted to add a little bit of extra stability and you wanted to lock the bag down a little bit more, you would attach this to the strap to here and then attach it to the bag, and that would allow it to like lock down to your body a little bit more. So that's a cool feature. The other thing is, if you're familiar with the previous bag, you'll recognize this big FIDLOCK buckle. So what you do is you just pull it up like that and it detaches. I find myself not really loving FIDLOCK buckles. They're just like too chunky for me. I really feel this on my body. I'm really aware of it. It's just pretty large. I actually don't find myself taking off slings using the buckle anyway, because for the most part, I can just pull it over my body, especially because this one is located on your back. So it's in the center of the bag. So if this is on my body, which I'll show you in a second, I can't reach around and get access to that. So I have to take the bag and like swing it to my front anyway. It's also really secure. Like this strap does not slip out of adjustment. The disadvantage to that is that you can't really quickly and easily adjust it on your body. You have to sort of like slide it through and then pull it down on that end, and then you like find the right fit for you. So that's a little bit tedious. What I do like is that we have two strap keepers on either side, so you can really lock down that extra strap adjustment. It's not flying all over the place. So here is the sling when it's on. I have this on the front of my body right now, obviously, and it's really easy to swing around to my back. Like I mentioned, I don't really love this FIDLOCK buckle. You can see that when it's on my back, this is just chilling like right in the front of my body. So I usually, generally speaking, even with a sling with this size, I like to kind of carry things on my front just because I want quick access to them. But if I did carry it on my back, than it is just kind of hanging out. It's either like on my shoulder or it's like on my chest in a weird spot, and I don't really love the feeling of that. I'm just a little bit too aware of it. It's very like chunky and plasticky. It also makes it hard if you're carrying this with a travel backpack and you want to put this on the front of your body. Makes it a little bit more difficult because that FIDLOCK buckle being on my back, it bumps up against the travel backpack. So that's not particularly comfortable either. However, in a general sense, this is comfortable to carry because the strap is very soft, it's nice and thick, it's not overly padded, but I don't really feel like I was missing anything with that padding. I think with the Sling this size, you're kind of used to having a little bit more of a beefy harness system, and if you're willing to kind of take the hit, I guess, with the comfortability of that FIDLOCK buckle, then this is a very comfortable sling to carry. It's very low profile, stays nice against the body, and just generally nice to use. If you're finding this video helpful, be sure to hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. So for now, we're gonna look at the organization of this bag. We're gonna start off with this rear pocket. So this is just like a regular YKK, like zipper pull pocket that goes into this rear pocket that's really good for like flat items. So I have my phone in here. You do have to kind of like, because this lays so flush against your body, if you put things in there like a phone that you want to get to often, you do have to kind of pull it forward every single time in order to get access to the pocket. I didn't find that overly annoying, and for me it was a trade-off because getting my phone into the other pockets was a little more tedious, I guess, which I'll show you in a second. But this pocket here is pretty roomy. You can see it goes all the way down to the bottom of the sling here and then on either side. So basically, and I guess it does go up as well. So technically speaking, this entire back panel is a pocket. I would definitely leave it to flat items though, like a passport or a phone or something like that, because anything that's too chunky is gonna start to poke through and then you're gonna be wearing that against your body. And because this sling is so big, you really want it to lay flat. So keep it to flat items. That one's pretty simple. Zip that back up. And then on the front here, we have a main compartment or a front compartment that is for like quick grab gear. So here there is a relatively long key leash with their, I think it's their mod key system. And this, yeah, the mod key tether. So this is magnetic. It like goes right on there. Keep it on your keys. Can remove your keys really easily. I love this. I think this is really great. I love being able to remove my keys nice and simply and easily. So I think that's a great feature. The key leash is nice and long. It never really felt like it was in the way, but when I have my keys in there, obviously my keys are a little on the bulkier side, but you don't have, like, it takes up a decent amount of space in here. So even with these additional pockets, once the pockets were full and my keys were in there, it looks like there's a lot of space left, but I found that it was kind of hard to utilize. So with this, like if I put my keys back on there, and then this is what I was talking about with my phone. If I put my phone in here, it just feels a little clunky. Like I'm butting it up against my keys. I'm trying to get everything in there nice and like easily. And then when I close that up, it's just a little bit lumpier than it was when my phone wasn't in there and when I was able to kind of lay my keys however I wanted. I can get that to be a little bit flatter looking. It's just like aesthetically a little bit better. Kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You'll figure out what kind of works best for you. With that, just removing my keys. And these pockets, they're a really great spot for, like, I have my wallet in one, and then in the other I think I have my chapstick, and then I have my AirPods. This pocket, because it is kind of shallow and you do have to sort of like reach back to get to those pockets, you can sort of bump up against the zipper. Not the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's also not terrible. I just found myself really not even like gravitating towards using this pocket unless it was just stuff that I could just quickly get in and out of. But it is a pretty roomy pocket if you do want to carry a substantial amount of gear in there. There is space for it. And now on to the main compartment. So this front compartment does have independent storage. You can see the fabric sort of like puckers out here, and that allows you, I guess you can kind of see, if you like look at where that stitching is, all of this front bulk is all independent storage from that main compartment. So when you open up the main compartment, we've got nice dual zippers. You can see the liner for that main compartment ends about here, and all that extra space you can use to pack out with this extra stuff, which is what I mean when I say that you do have a lot of extra space in that front compartment. So if we're looking at this main compartment here, it does like unzip a little bit further on either side to give you a little bit more visibility looking inside. But in the scheme of things, when you open this up, it's pretty shallow. So I found when this was on my body, I didn't really like, I still had like a minimal stuff, and I had to have it arranged almost perfectly for me to be able to get to everything that I wanted to really quickly. So let's say, you know, the front compartment's full and I wanted to stick a couple extra items in here to be able to, I don't know, for the sake of looking at it. So if I, you know, have this zipped, pull open this pocket, you can see that you have everything lined up nicely next to each other. But if you start to layer here, it's gonna get a little bit hard to get to those items at the bottom. So let's say, you know, my headphones fell out and they were all the way down there. It might be a little bit harder to get to them or to see them or notice that they've fallen out of the pocket or something like that. I didn't have anything fall out of the pockets, but I just mean that as an example of, you know, if, you know, you're storing stuff in there instead of in the pockets. You do have a decent amount of pocket storage though. I have like a field notes notebook in here. These pockets themselves, these little liner pockets, are pretty wide, I guess you could say. They're wide like both from side to side, but also they go out a little bit further. So if you wanted to put, like here I have a wallet and a pack of gum, there's still even a little bit of space if I wanted to put in that field notes notebook too, there's still that space. It does obviously start to cut into that main compartment storage, but you've got some options, right? So if I wanted to maybe even put like these items here, I could put my phone in that pocket. So you'll just find out whatever like arrangement for your gear works best. But you do have a decent amount of space in here. I will say that I think this works best for like flat items versus having a bunch of really like bulky, oddly shaped things, just because of it's easier to arrange everything in here when you can kind of like line it up next to each other. So we've got a nice little base here for space. This is a 5-liter bag, so you do have like 1 extra liter compared to the previous version. And then this back panel here is large enough to fit a Nintendo Switch. So it's got a little bit of padding there. There is some structure up at the top. You can see there's like it's almost like a little plasticky thing that allows this pocket to stay upright. I do notice that sometimes when I open this bag, the pocket like pops out. So you kind of have to move that out of the way in order to see everything that's down at like the bottom in that main compartment. So when I had like something back here and something in these pockets, it really just kind of cut into that main compartment space, which might be another reason why I was a little bit more hesitant to store things on that inside bit. But I think in general, this Sling does a really good job at holding your daily essentials if you've got a larger amount of items that are a little bit on the larger side, because you can line them up pretty significantly like organized in that main compartment and still be able to see everything relatively well. This is obviously the Go Sling Mini. You can see that it's not really that small, but it is smaller than some other, you know, larger slings that ALPAKA sells or just some slings in general. And it's still, even at its larger size, stays really compact to your body and really like angular, which is really nice. I think it's just a very sleek sling to carry every day. So there you have it, the ALPAKA Go Sling Mini. Thanks for keeping it here, Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and I'll see you in the next one.